spring cleaning at home. And I came across...
Veteran reporter Dermot James reminisces with Hector Neal about the days when Hector sponsored local hero Norman Brown.
Anyway, Hector, put those
Nice
in our
to-
guys.
Oh, you giving me them, Dermot?
Absolutely.
Oh, treasure them, that's brilliant.
The first surprise the James brothers encountered was the luxury of the top teams, their movie star camper vans and high-tech workshops, and of course the bikes themselves.
If you have a look at the bikes today, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, maybe into millions of pounds worth of bikes out here today. They're all gleaming. Gone are the days of even when the works teams from 30 years ago. I saw photographs of Phil Reed and parts of the bike, but you wouldn't get that nowadays at all. It's much more professional. The late David Jeffries, unfortunately, who got killed actually at the TT. The year before that, there he earned a reported £140,000 from the TT, and good money on one side, but there's always death actually around the corner. But the riders know the risks, and nobody forces them to do it.
Next surprise was all those familiar faces who had stayed loyal to the sport across the decades, like former world champion Phil Reed and our one and only Grand Prix world champion Ralph Bryans, joined here by 70s star Adrian Craig.
Some of these big road bikes actually are going a lot faster than we ever went in Grand Prix bikes in our days. That's for sure. Tires have changed, technology changes, but that's life, isn't it? Everything gets better as it goes on. Though I must admit now that I'm at the ripe old age of just over 60, I fear for some of them occasions, I tell you. I definitely do.
But the memories will be good.
One of the films planned for the show in the Queen's Hall was Greasy Rider, which includes the Northwest 200 from 1980. This was the last motorcycle film the James brothers made of that era.
Hi, Alvin.
How's it going? Well,
All the way from sunny Spain.
Then at last our racing stars begin to arrive. 1974 Ulster Road Racing champion Abe Alexander and wife Esther, who've travelled from Spain where they now live.
well,
Northwest 200 winner Ian McGregor.
Raymond!
Then the legendary Ray McCulloch arrives and is buttonholed by veteran race commentator Derek Mason.
never heard tell us such a thing. No, that must have been before my time.
I know I'm certainly going to enjoy tonight. We're the first viewing for me. The Queen's Hall rapidly fills with fans who've come from far and wide. The scene is set for a fabulous evening of racing nostalgia. So thanks a lot and enjoy the night. The audience settled down to watch the James Brothers film Greasy Rider. The triple tragedies of the previous year's Northwest 200 are but sad memories for the thousands of fans who line the now shortened circuit, the spectacular Shell Bridge section seen here at a previous Northwest being abandoned for safety reasons. The deaths of Tom Heron, an internationally known racer, and Frank Kennedy, one-third of the Armoy Armada, had rocked the Northwest 200 to its foundations. Everyone was hoping for a perfect day's racing over the fastest road circuit in the British Isles. English racer Steve Parish, 25 years on and now a racing commentator himself, Steve tells me and Superbike world champion James Toseland about the good old days.
My memories, I guess, of the 1970s would have to be that it was more fun, it was more jovial. It was less commercialised, you know. I mean, it was obviously important. People still wanted to win just the same as they do now. But what the deal was that you weren't being watched as much. The trouble is the media now, you know, I mean, back in the 70s, Barry Sheen, not that I would ever do it, but he'd nip off with a girl out the back and this, that and the other. But seriously, you know, don't have to tell you, the media is so much more involved now. And the sportsman's supposed to be that kind of homogenised being that eats his vegetables and trains all day long. So it's tougher. I think it's tougher now.
At the film show, Ray McCulloch enjoys watching the international lineup for the 1980 350 Northwest 200. Number 3, Charlie Mortimer, and our own Donnie Robinson, and a relaxed and confident TT specialist, Charlie Williams. The field rockets away towards the hairpin at York, the last of the riders hardly able to see the track from the smoking two-stroke engines. By the end of the first lap, Charlie Williams is out on his own. Superbike hero Roger Marshall looks suitably impressed. An easy win for TT star Charlie Williams, who takes the flag. Tony Rudder comes second, with fellow English raider Steve Tonkin making it a clean sweep for the visitors. Lapping up the feminine attention is double TT winner Alex George. In those days before TV soaps and television personalities, these racing stars were the heartthrobs for their adoring female fans.
So that's what I like about it. In case.
You don't see riders like Bruce Anstey receiving such female attention.
Take me photos to sign.
Well, not strictly true. The women today play a more subtle game. They've exchanged their wellies for evening dresses at the regular gala dinners held by the motorcycling fraternity. Let's return to the riders. Back then, the bikes were nearly as fast in top speed as they are now, but they lacked the mind-blowing takeoff of today's machines. Let's watch that 1980 start again. Now compare that to the modern Ulster Grand Prix. Gone are the days of the grid-engulfing smoke of the old two-strokes.
The game itself has moved on drastically from 30 years ago. It's much more professional now, it really is. The medical teams are much better than before as well, but at the end of the day, it's the sport has always been death associated with the sport. Always 30 years ago, people were getting killed. I remember Tom Hearn, 1979, I think it was at the Northwest 200, and they said the sport would end then, and the sport is still going actually strong actually to this day. In fact, the sport is even bigger today than it was then.
We're back again at the 1980 Northwest 200 and the finish of the 500cc race. Unknown to our smiling victor, English star Mick Grant, Armoy's Mervyn Robinson had lost control and crashed at the ultra-fast Mathers Cross.
I didn't know that.
Mervyn was to die later from head and neck injuries. Mervyn had been unhappy about carrying the number 31 plate as he considered it unlucky. His friend Frank Kennedy had been killed the year before riding with the number 31, but Mervyn reluctantly agreed.
When they were clearing the grid for the 500 event, Mervyn spots me and calls me over and asks would we show our film to his Armoy Supporters Club in a few weeks' time. We said no problem, see us after the race. Mervyn mentioned he was a wee bit worried about the crosswinds that were catching his bike. Maybe that had something to do with the tragedy. We'll never know. Little did we suspect they would never see him again.
Mervyn and Joey were as close as brothers-in-law could be, and many predicted that this would be the end of Joey's career. On the Tuesday evening after Mervyn's funeral, the Armoy Armada Supporters Club met and decided to disband. In a poignant statement, they announced, "The feelings of the members is that the club should be buried along with the dead and let them rest in peace." "25 years later, Joey's wife Linda and son Gary, who run the famous Joey's Bar in Ballymoney, and Joey's sister Helen, who was Mervyn's wife, organised a reunion of the Armoy Armada Supporters Club, and I was privileged to be asked along. And what a night. So that's from 1970? 77. Old photos and membership cards, lovingly kept by the fans, were passed around. And with the odd drink or two, the years rolled back.
Tried to learn Jim how to fall off.
That's right, in Strand, didn't
We had one of those wee Mazdas, you know the wee square type Mazdas at that time. Well, we had one of those. So they took Jim to Downhill Strand. Drove up and down the Strand. Mervyn, he was driving, and Joey, he sat in the bonnet of the car. And then Mervyn, he braked, and Joey, he was teaching Jim how to fall off. So you roll off the bonnet of the car. Joey, he says, that's how you do it. Right, it's your turn. So Jim, he got on the bonnet of the car. Up the road, done this handbrake turn. Jim rolls off. broken collarbone.
There was very little motorcycle racing on the television in those days, but this particular day there was a motorbike, or even there's a motorbike race on, but it so happened that there's a motorbike race on the two channels. And Joey, he actually got two televisions and he got one parked on top of the other. Remember that? And he got the two of them up. And Frank, he couldn't get seeing it, whatever was the reason. He couldn't get no picture or something. And he went down and whatever, he threw a chain over the wires and the whole electricity went off. But eventually Mervyn, he found out why it was. And a few weeks later, there was a repeat. And Frank, he had got the television and all sorted. And Mervyn, they knew about it, and they come up into Frank's yard, and he'd been renovating the house, and there was a ladder there, and got this big, massive, big sod cut out of the garden, and went up and set it on top of the chimney, and smoked Frank out.
Joey's decision to race at the Isle of Man TT 2 weeks after Mervyn's death was to change his life. Joey sailed over on a fishing boat, and when Alwyn James and former champion Abe Alexander heard he would be racing, with wives and dog on board, they headed from Donaghadee for Peel Harbour. They knew they were in for something special. Joey, without the support of a works team and holding a loose petrol tank with his knees for over 200 miles, against all odds, wins the 1980 Classic TT. Back from his victory, he finds himself in demand, not just from his fans, but also the media. He gives one of his first interviews to the BBC.
On a sad note, since the tragic death of Mervyn, people have been saying that retirement is on the cards for you, although you kept pretty quiet about it yourself. Have you made any decisions since then?
I've thought a lot about it. That's why I'm going to stay back home for a wee while. See how things goes. I just don't know yet what to do. Difficult question.
You're undecided?
I'm just undecided yet. I don't know just.
While the film fans wait to see the victorious Joey return to local racing, the Undertones make it to the top of the charts.
Now I've got a cousin called Kevin, sure to go to heaven.
Cinema goers are treated to the second episode in the Star Wars trilogy. And the James Brothers film fans are delighted to see Joey clash again with stay-at-home arch-rival Ray McCulloch at the no longer run Temple 100. Public interest was immense, with many expecting Joey to sweep the board after his recent TT triumph. Fans packed the hedges, the roadside, the walls, and climbed into the trees to see the hoped-for clash of the titans. Could the now lone Armoy hero defeat Dramara's Ray McCulloch, going for his 20th win over the Temple course? Now retired 1965 Northwest 200 winner Ian McGregor pushes nephew Brian Reed's 250 bike to the line. But nobody has told course specialist Noel Hudson or Bangor Steve Cull, a recent winner at the Northwest 200, that they were supposed to be merely bit-part players in this drama. Perfect racing conditions, but not a perfect start for local rider Paul Cranston. Race commentator Alan Drysdale.
Stephen Cole goes off to a flying start, pursued by Ray McCulloch. Noel Hudson, number 2, is last away, while Paul Cranston, he doesn't get away at all. At the end of lap 1, Steve Cowell, number 4, leads Ray McCulloch, number 1, by just 3 seconds. Line third is Conor McGinn. But already, Hudson, he's up to 6th and chasing Jeff Cronin and Alan Irwin. It's still Cowell, but McCulloch has cut his lead to 1.5 seconds. Joey Dunlop is out, and behind the leaders, an equally exciting battle for third as Conor McGinn is caught by the flying Hudson. McCulloch, it's as close as that. And now Hudson, with a speed of 94.56, takes McGinn with the fastest lap so far. Brian Reed's now fifth, ahead of Alan Irwin. but it's Steve Cull and the super quick Cotton, and he's pulling away. McCullough's 3 seconds down, and he's riding his heart out. Has he mechanical problems? Hudson has problems too. McGinn is closing the gap again on the last lap. Stephen Cull, the start-to-finish leader, takes the flag, with Ray McCullough failing by just 2 seconds to win his 20th Temple Road race. McGinn repasses a slowing Noel Hudson to snatch 3rd place.
By 1980, a young Brian Reed was now bolstering the fortunes of the Dramara Destroyers together with Trevor Steele.
Well, it was a great honour for me to be, to be asked to be part of the Dramara Destroyers because, it wasn't that long started racing, so it was a great honour to be asked to join that, and it was a great era to be racing and a great era to be winning races because, I think the quality of the field at that stage was, it was one of the best times, the 70s and 80s. So, when you look at all the names that there was around at that time, if you won a race, it was, you'd beat the best in the world, best road racers in the world.
Rising stars like Rob Britton, Alan Irwin and Conor McGinn provide a real challenge to the big two, Ray McCulloch and Joey Dunlop. Side by side, they wait for the flag to drop.
Last year's double winner, Noel Hudson, makes no mistakes this time and is well clear of Conor McGinn, number 6, as the unfortunate Paul Cranston overshoots Rectory Corner, letting Alan Irwin through to 3rd. During the closing stages, McGinn, with the fastest lap of the race, closes to within 50 yards of the leader. Producing his best ever road race result, Alan Irwin holds 3rd place ahead of Ray McCulloch, number 4.
And Hudson McGinn go down into the Rectory Corner together once again. So coming up now to get to Cedar Flag, and Noel Hudson is going to go.
30 years on and the James Brothers audience is just as enthralled by these wonderful films, which stand testament to a unique period in Ulster's road racing history. We stay at the Temple for the last race of the day. So far, Joey Dunlop has failed to shine. Will his luck change for the main event as the volunteer marshals sweep the track? Fans run to see the exciting start. Feast your eyes, sit back and enjoy. Here are 350 Yamahas, 500 Suzukis, 750 Yamahas, Hondas, Kawasaki's, Zeekers and Nortons. Anything that's big enough and ugly enough and can move like a bat out of hell. That's pure road racing. Stephen Cull on a 750 Yamaha leads Rob Britton on his 500 Yamaha and Suzuki-mounted Billy Guthrie. It was a day best forgotten for Joey Dunlop as he fails to finish from 3 starts due to mechanical failure. Cull retires, but the record crowd is treated to a dazzling display as Guthrie and Britton, lapping at a fraction outside the absolute lap record, duel in the sun. Guthrie still leads, but watch how Britton hangs on for dear life. Flag and success to veteran road racer Billy Guthrie, who also has the fastest lap of the day at 97.06 miles per hour, 11 years after his first Temple 100 win. Sam McClements overhauls Rob Britton, nursing his ailing Yamaha, and grabs second. Viewers here in the room already, you're all going to watch these programs. Please stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. Colin and Alwyn James, thanks very much. After the show, I mingled with the riders and fans. They'd all enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and some of those courses, like the Temple 100, definitely looked like lanes.
But I remember coming up the hairpin, up at the hairpin, and mine Mervyn passed, Joey passed, and then on round the corners.
For the James brothers, it was a successful night. It was as if those 30 years were but a blink of an eye. But they knew in reality it represents a generation and a half.
Change the number of the bike.
Ian and Nancy McGregor are now grandparents. Their two sons, Brian and Alan, had raced in the 90s. What were the third generation of McGregors up to?
This is a photograph of Team McGregor taken at a charity meeting in Dromore. Ian in the middle, Brian and Alan. Together with this is Alan's son Aaron, Brian's son Colin, and his younger son Jonathan. Colin started scrambling at the end of the season 2001. In 2003 he won the Ulster Cadets Championship, and to keep it in the family, in the year 2004 Brian Reid's son Simon won the same championship.
He rode yesterday with a front wheel puncture for 2 laps probably.
Sam's had he known.
Alan and Brian get the bikes ready for the kids. Ray and Ian are left to work on the engines, so you could say they're still tuning winners. When you're weaned on a mixture of petrol and two-stroke oil, the need to race is in the blood. Miraculously, all 4 Dramara destroyers survive and enjoy meeting and reliving old times. Ray McCulloch, Ian McGregor, and their younger comrades Trevor Steele and Brian Reid. Brian was a Formula 2 world champion in the 80s. Trevor Steele reflects on the fortunes of their Armoy rivals.
I mean, miss Joey, miss Mervyn, Frank, they're great lads. You know, it's a bit, we think it's strange sometimes how we're still can be together, you know, and have a bit of crack about it. And the boys are all gone.
The Armoy Armada of Mervyn Robinson, Frank Kennedy and Joey Dunlop are no longer with us, but another generation is as dedicated to the sport as their fathers. Go to any race meeting today and you'll see Dunlops. You'll find Joey's son Gary, there's Robert's sons William and Michael, and also Jim Dunlop's son Samuel. It's a family circus who eat, sleep and dream motorcycle racing. Under the name Robinson, you'll find Paul, a talented racer and 2004 125 British champion, seen here with stepfather and manager Davy Loudon. Paul was just 5 when his father Mervyn was tragically killed. Oh, that's all about. It's the friendship and the camaraderie. At the James Brothers film show, I met Frank Kennedy's brother Alistair and his wife Jane, who tell me about their son.
Frank Kennedy.
So after 20 years of Frank, it's going to be
another 20 years. Well, so maybe more.
Yeah. Once you're on the bike and settled down, it's all right.
He was off work on Monday and he said, "Mommy, would you please take me to get my leathers?" So we ended up going to Lantons to get his leathers on Monday, and he's just over the moon.
That's the Armoy Armada Mark II, starting up now?
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. Well, I hope it goes well.
Kennedy, Robeson and Dunlop back out again on the road.
They're all back out, that's right. Back to a star of the Armoy Armada Mark I. In just 5 years from his first road race win in 1975, Joey had now won 2 TTs, and as a works rider helped Suzuki win the Formula 1 World Championship. This has been Joey, the early years, a unique racer even then. But as a young man, he respected the qualities in Raymond McCulloch, the winning combination of nerves of steel and consummate skill. He knew if he could beat Ray, he could beat anybody in the world around a road circuit. Despite the dangers of this thrilling and spectacular sport, Joey went on to become a Honda Works rider and won them 5 consecutive Formula 1 world titles from 1982 to 86. The last race of 1980 and the last race the James Brothers filmed in that era was the Embassy Final at Kirkeston, won by, you've guessed it, Joey Dunlop.
Then William Johnson, Alan Irwin, Noel Hudson's there, Bill Simpson,
Then the two front runners, Conor McGinn on the outside and Jackie Wilkin on the inside. And they're off. And the first man away is Carl. Jackie Wilkin getting a double wheelie there, knocking it up the gears. And Joey Dunlop on a real flyer up the back straight. He's picking them off.
As he continued to popularise pure road racing, many cameras other than the James brothers were now focusing on this talented road racer. Award-winning local filmmakers Colin and Alwyn James had filmed Joey Dunlop emerge from the shadows into the limelight. It was time for them to bow out. But Joey would continue to thrill the fans for many years to come.